Gentle parenting sounds wonderful, right? It promotes kindness, understanding, and a deep emotional connection with our children. But did you know that this approach can also have hidden downsides? Research shows that nearly 30% of parents who adopt gentle parenting styles report feeling overwhelmed and stressed. Many struggle with guilt and fear, worrying they might harm their child by saying no or setting limits. Here's the shocking truth: while gentle parenting encourages nurturing, it can sometimes lead to burnout. A study found that up to 20% of parents experience burnout due to the pressure of maintaining constant patience. These numbers show that the road to gentle parenting isn't always smooth. In this video, we'll dive deep into the darker sides of gentle parenting that no one talks about. From the hidden pressures of perfection to the challenges of setting boundaries, we'll cover it all. You'll learn practical strategies to help you navigate these tricky waters while still being the loving parent you want to be. Stay tuned to discover how to balance gentleness with authority, avoid emotional burnout, and keep your sense of self in the process. This journey isn't just about your child, it's about you too. Chapter 1. The hidden pressure of perfection. Gentle parenting is often seen as the gold standard in modern parenting. It encourages patience, empathy, and emotional connection. But there's a side to it that's rarely talked about: the pressure to be a perfect parent every single day. Many parents feel that if they slip up, even once, they've failed their child. The truth is, no one can be perfectly calm and composed all the time, but the gentle parenting movement can unintentionally make parents believe they should be. Studies show that parents under high levels of stress are more likely to experience burnout. In fact, according to the American Psychological Association, parental burnout affects about 5% to 20% of parents, depending on the country. When you're trying to be endlessly patient, it's easy to forget that you're human too. Author Janet Lansbury, in her book, No Bad Kids, reminds us, perfection is not the goal. Connection is. So, what can you do? One strategy is embracing good enough parenting. Instead of aiming for perfection, focus on being present. If you have a rough day and lose your temper, it's okay. You can repair the connection later by talking openly with your child. They'll learn that relationships can have ups and downs, and that's healthy. Another useful tip is creating a support network. Talk to other parents about the challenges. You might be surprised how many feel the same. Sharing your struggles can ease the pressure. No one should parent in isolation, especially when gentle parenting can feel like walking a tightrope. Chapter 2. When boundaries blur. The over-gentle trap. One of the trickiest parts of gentle parenting is setting boundaries. Many parents fall into the trap of becoming too gentle, to the point where the lines of authority blur. The fear of being too harsh can lead to a lack of clear rules. The result? Kids may start pushing limits, not because they're bad, but because they don't know where the limits are. A study from Frontiers in Psychology found that children who lack consistent boundaries are more likely to develop behavioral problems. The study suggests that while warmth and emotional connection are essential, clear and consistent rules are equally important for a child's development. A strategy to maintain balance is the firm but kind approach. You can be gentle while still holding firm boundaries. For example, if your child refuses to brush their teeth, you can calmly explain why it's important but remain unwavering in your expectation. A helpful script might be, "I understand you don't feel like it right now, but brushing your teeth is not negotiable. Let's do it together." One common mistake is giving too many choices. Choices can empower kids, but offering too many can overwhelm them. Try limiting it to 2 options. Would you like to brush your teeth now or after this song? This gives them control within limits. Remember, being gentle doesn't mean being a pushover. Chapter 3. Emotional burnout. The cost of constant patience. One of the biggest challenges in gentle parenting is the constant demand for emotional availability. Being patient 24/7 is no small feat. The emotional labor of always remaining calm, even when your child is having a meltdown, can lead to exhaustion. According to a study from the Journal of Family Psychology, parents who adopt a highly involved, emotionally intensive parenting style are at greater risk of emotional burnout. This often manifests as irritability, fatigue, and even detachment from the child. Ironically, trying to be emotionally present at all times can lead to emotional withdrawal. So, what can be done? First, it's vital to acknowledge that you can't pour from an empty cup. Taking time for self-care is not selfish, it's necessary. A simple strategy is setting aside 10 to 15 minutes of quiet time for yourself each day. Use that time to reset, whether it's through deep breathing, a short walk, or even just sitting in silence. Another key strategy is learning to let go of guilt. Brené Brown, in her book, Daring Greatly, emphasizes the importance of self-compassion. She writes, "Talk to yourself like you would to someone you love. If you wouldn't berate your best friend for losing patience with their child, why do it to yourself?" Lastly, it helps to lower the emotional stakes during conflicts. You don't need to have a perfect response every time your child has a tantrum. It's okay to step away, take a breath, and come back to the situation later. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is give yourself permission to take a break. After all, your well-being is as important as your child's. If you're finding value in this discussion, please consider subscribing to our channel for more insights and tips on parenting. Chapter 4. Guilt over discipline. When saying no feels like failure for many gentle parents, the word no feels like a personal defeat. The fear of damaging a child's confidence or emotional well-being can make discipline feel like a minefield. But the reality is, children need limits to feel safe and secure. In fact, a study from the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry found that children with clear and consistent discipline showed better emotional regulation than those who had too much freedom. One effective strategy is using the "yes with conditions" approach. Instead of outright saying no, reframe it. For example, if your child asks for ice cream before dinner, you might say, "Yes, after we eat." This approach sets limits while still allowing room for flexibility. Your child hears a positive response, but you still maintain control of the situation. Another helpful technique is to explain the why behind your decisions. Research shows that kids are more likely to accept rules if they understand the reasoning. Instead of simply saying, "Don't touch that," try saying, "That's hot, and I don't want you to get burned." This helps children see the boundary as protective, not restrictive. Finally, embrace the idea that saying no doesn't mean you're failing. Dr. Daniel Siegel, in his book, The Whole Brain Child, emphasizes that boundaries actually help children thrive. He says, children need predictable limits to help them feel safe. Saying no when necessary is a form of love, not failure. Chapter 5. The Child-Centric Dilemma. Losing yourself in the process. One of the biggest risks of gentle parenting is becoming so focused on your child's needs that you forget your own. It's easy to fall into the trap of making everything about them, from their emotional well-being to their daily routines. But this can lead to feelings of resentment or a loss of identity for parents. Interestingly, research from the Journal of Marriage and Family found that parents who overly focus on their child's happiness often experience greater stress and lower life satisfaction. This child-centered approach, while well-intentioned, can backfire when it leaves parents feeling like they've lost themselves. A great strategy to combat this is to carve out me time. Start small, 15 minutes of your favorite activity or simply a quiet moment with a cup of tea. It may sound simple, but these breaks can recharge your energy and mental state. Even gentle parents need time for themselves. Another tip is to delegate. You don't have to do everything. Whether it's asking your partner to take over bath time or hiring a babysitter for a few hours, giving yourself space to breathe can make you a better, more present parent. You can also involve your child in self-care routines. For instance, if you enjoy yoga, have your child join you. This models the importance of taking care of oneself and helps your child see that your needs matter too. Gentle parenting doesn't mean self-sacrifice. It's about balance, and maintaining your sense of self is part of that. Chapter 6. The Silent Judgments. Facing criticism from other parents. No one talks about how much judgment comes with gentle parenting. Whether it's from parents who don't understand the approach or even from within the gentle parenting community, criticism is everywhere. You might feel judged for being too soft, or, on the other hand, for not being gentle enough. The truth is, parenting isn't one size fits all, and there's no escaping opinions from others. A survey conducted by the Pew Research Center found that 61% of parents feel judged about how they raise their children, with discipline being the top area of criticism. This can make gentle parenting feel even harder, as the approach itself is often misunderstood. One strategy to handle judgment is to develop a strong parenting philosophy. Knowing why you're choosing gentle parenting, and the science behind it, can make you feel more confident when others question your choices. Dr. Laura Markham, author of Peaceful Parent, Happy Kids, writes, "You don't need to justify your parenting. You just need to feel sure about it. Owning your decisions takes the power away from critics." Another helpful tip is practicing selective listening. You don't need to engage in every debate about your parenting style. When faced with unsolicited advice, a simple, "Thank you for sharing," is enough. You don't have to justify or defend your choices to everyone. Finally, seek out like-minded communities. Connecting with other gentle parents who share your values can help buffer against the negative noise. These groups can offer support, advice, and a reminder that you're not alone on this journey. Criticism may always exist, but having a support system can make it easier to navigate. If you enjoyed this video and found the information helpful, please subscribe to our channel for more insights into parenting.